Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
This one comes from Benny. Do you see that HBO dropped the first real trailer for House of the Dragon? I don't know much about the story, but I got chills watching it. The little hints of the classic Game of Thrones music made me realize how much I missed this world, even though I didn't like how the original series ended. What did you think of it, and are you excited for the new show?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Benny. And I get it. You and there's a lot of people weren't thrilled with how Game of Thrones ended. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was one of those things where I felt it needed more room to breathe. I mean, there's no, even somebody like me who loved the final season.
It needed to be decanted.
Even I would say it needed more episodes. It needed to be longer. Absolutely. But I thought it was fantastic. And it set the record for the most Emmy wins of any season of television in television history. Good for them. But that being said, House of the Dragon's coming out. Now look, Game of Thrones, obviously the most celebrated television show in history. It has won more Emmys by a mile than any other show in television history. It invaded pop culture more than any other television show in history. But just because it was all of that doesn't necessarily mean that something else that you tag the same label on it is going to work or be well, especially with the fact that there are a good number of people out there who left Game of Thrones with a little bit of a sour taste because of the way to them that the ending of it didn't work. So I've not really known what to think about House of the Dragon. Now, of course, we start to see character posters. I liked it. You got Matt Smith in there. I like that. We got some footage, glimpses, a little teaser that wasn't really a proper teaser earlier. I thought it looked pretty good, but we really got our first legit trailer today for it. And I will say I kind of completely agree with what our viewer wrote, that when those little notes of that Game of Thrones theme started to become recognizable, I kind of got chills a little bit. And I kind of realized, you know what? I don't think I realized how much I miss going there and into that world and hearing these stories.
Such a warm, inviting place, Westeros.
Such a safe,
King's Landing.
good place to raise kids.
What a vacation
such
spot.
a good place to raise kids.
I mean,
Gosh.
it looks great. I mean, they decided not to wait. We're going to see dragons. One of the very first shot, you see dragons flying around and all that kind of stuff. Now, look, they didn't go a lot into the story, nor should they yet. I mean, we're still a little bit off from the series. We're going to have more promotion to come. So I'm going to say this. It didn't blow me away, but for a first little teaser that was a truly legitimate teaser, I gotta say, it made me feel like I missed that world and I'm ready to go back into it. So I think it did its job. Chris, you saw the first kind of teaser here. What did you think of it?
It's a Game of Thrones. I honestly, I didn't feel much for it. I think everyone looks great. I'm glad we saw dragons, because if you have this whole build up towards the end of the Game of Thrones that we all know, you can't just be like, and we're going to pull back on dragons again.
Yeah.
We've already seen them. They need to be there. I'm mostly just hoping that this is a good vehicle for Matt Smith. I want that kid to have a win. I really, really like him as an actor. I think
But he
he's
just
phenomenal.
did Morbius.
Which was my favorite film of the year.
Isn't that like the crown jewel in his career now?
My first hot toy is going to be Matt Smith
in
his
Morbius.
weird little monsters Morbius attire. It's so weird hearing you just laugh off camera. It's very unsettling. The last season for me wasn't great. It was very rushed. There were some good moments, but it kind of just took away all the wind in my sails for this franchise. I'm hoping that that's reignited. I'm really hoping I'm into this again. And at the worst case scenario, I'll go back to watching it with all of the different Game of Thrones scotches.
Oh, that's right. They did put out a bunch of those,
and
didn't
they are
they?
delightful.
Rob, you had a chance to see this. What was your take on the teaser?
Well, I kind of echo what my esteemed colleague over here, Chris Carr, has to say, in the sense that, look, it looks great. I mean, it looks beautiful and lush, and the production values look incredibly high. But I don't know who these people are. But I mean, I don't. I'm watching.
But you recognize the family names.
Yes, I recognize the family.
Anyone
names,
with white hair, I know their lineage.
Yes, and all that's fine. All that's great. But to me, we're now in the wake of Game of Thrones. We've had Wheel of Time, and we've had Shannara, and there's been all of these fantasy shows. And the thing that made Game of Thrones, I think, different is that even though there was sword and sorcery and a bit of magic and dragons, it really was set in more of a gritty reality. And this has that. I'm looking at, I'm waiting to know because we don't know about the story. Why am I going to get invested in this?
Right.
That's what I want to know. And it looks great. And I'll watch it because it's Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones. Even when Game of Thrones was like pizza or sex. Even when it was bad, I still really enjoyed watching it.
Right.
You know, and I think that this looks that way too. But again, as I was saying earlier before the show started, for me, John, it's always about the writing. And Game of Thrones had some of the greatest writing in television. I mean, but that was when Benioff and Weiss had the books to go back to. And again, like with the Lord of the Rings show, they're tapping into backstory to create a full-blown series. And that's hard to do. And that takes some real deft script writing. And I really hope that it's great. George R. R. Martin seems to like it. You know, author who's making a lot of money says he likes his show.
Oh,
you know,
no,
it's like,
I hate making money from HBO.
Yeah, but I look, I really want.
I don't want to have to go back to actually finishing writing my
That would
books.
suck.
I just want to collect checks.
I will say this: I'm rooting for this show. I want to love this show. It looks great. I hope it's great. But again, if the thing that we're most excited about is, there's the Game of Thrones theme.
No, I don't think anybody's saying they're excited for the Game of Thrones thing, but music like smell just elicits those emotional triggers, and you just realize it's like, oh yeah, I love going into that world. I love sitting down and watching this.
It to be great, man.
You know, I actually started watching Game of Thrones.
You did?
I'm on episode 4. I mean, we get it later now. They just released it here on Minority Island.
Minority.
So,
Did HBO just come out of Minority Island?
So they just released season 1. And this is true. I did start watching it. I'm not being like, so I'm up to episode 4. It's pretty good.
Oh my God.
Nothing bad happens at all.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad happens
There's like
at all.
how many seasons in
Oh my
Game
gosh,
of Thrones?
they
Like
have
8,
the
9?
cutest weddings on this show.
Everybody
man.
becomes friends.
I can't wait to see this trailer when it gets here.
Are you watching things like The Sopranos for the first time too?
What's that? I have no idea what that is. No, but I think I'm going to continue it. It's actually a pretty interesting show. So,
All right, guys. Question is for you. House of the Dragon teaser is now here. Have you had a chance to see it? What do you think about it? Are you excited for the show? Maybe you're kind of taking a wait and see. Maybe you just want to watch the pizza like Rob. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down in the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. I don't know what that means. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Policy Genius. Now, when it comes to the topic of life insurance, I get it. A lot of people ask, well, why even get life insurance? Well, listen, if someone relies on you financially, whether it's a child, a parent, or a business partner, life insurance gives you peace of mind that they have a financial cushion if something were to happen to you. Policy Genius is here to help you, and they're going to make sure you pay as little for it as possible. By making it easy to compare your options from top companies, Policy Genius can help you make sure you're not paying a cent more than you have to for the coverage you need. So here's how it works. Policy Genius is your one-stop shop to find the insurance that you need at the right price. Just click in the link down in the description or head on over to policygenius.com/Campea to get started. In minutes, you can compare personalized quotes from top companies to find your lowest price. You can save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. And the process is easy because the licensed agents at Policy Genius are on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options and make decisions with confidence. Because ultimately, the Policy Genius team works for you, not for the insurance companies. And you can feel confident with Policy Genius because they don't add on extra fees. They don't sell your information to third parties, and they have thousands of 5-star reviews all across Google and Trustpilot. So again, guys, head on over to policygenius.com/Campea or click on their link down in the description below to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. And thank you again to Policy Genius for sponsoring this episode.